It's okay though. This year we're winning the FA Cup.
Yeah, we won 4-0. It's actually the biggest win I've ever been to. I think I cannot think of another 4-0 I've ever been to.
Oh my God, if that had gone in, that'd have been an unbelievable goal.
His name is Willem. Willem Willemson.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Second City podcast with me, Callum Byrne.
And me, Daniel Sketchley.
We're back for another episode. Not in person this week, Dan. We're relying on Wi-Fi yet again. But how are you?
Yes.
How has your week been?
Yeah, it's been absolutely fine, thank you. Yeah, pretty chilled. Although literally, because it's freezing again. It's just not warming up at all. But no, it's good. Very busy with football and stuff. Been to Blues a lot the last couple of weeks. A lot of home games in February as well. But it's been nice, yeah. It's kind of broken my week up and stuff. It's literally been like Saturday, Tuesday for a couple of weeks now. So it's a bit full throttle. But yes, I'm okay otherwise. How are you? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. We kind of stopped the Saturday, Tuesday stuff for at least a week or two, but we're going straight back into it this week. So
Yeah.
I've got a bit of a mental finishing work on Wednesday, flying up to Birmingham for the Liverpool match on Wednesday night, and then back down. So it's a flying
You're not
visit.
literally flying, are you?
And no, I wish I was. If anyone has a helicopter that wants to take me to Villa Park from Stockley Park, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be pretty mental. Bit of a Taylor Swift level of just flying around willy-nilly there. Cool, yeah. Fairly busy episode in terms of like quite a lot to cover, but it's all it's gonna be a brisk one. We're gonna get right into it. But that of course will be after we do what we're wearing, start where we always do. So Cal, do you want to go first? Or I?
I
I've
mean,
got
you
a bit
can
of
guess.
research on this one.
Okay,
So
well, you can guess mine first because I'm
yeah,
not
sure.
wearing a shirt. So, um,
Yeah,
I believe it or not, I don't know what episode this is, but I've pretty much run out of shirts.
59.
Yeah, 59. I've got one shirt left, I think, that's never been on the pod. So,
Oh, okay.
but this arrived like a week ago, and this is an absolute beaut. So,
Yeah, so it's well, it's a jumper. It's a Reebok jumper. The badge is like centered in the middle, with a weird sort of like shape around the badge.
yeah, can you even call it a
Uh,
shield? It's a shield within a shield, isn't it?
yeah. The badge looks around like it's kind of what I'd think of like when I was a kid, like what the badge was like, maybe even a little bit earlier because the prepared looks
Yeah.
like it's kind of detached from it. So I'm gonna say like 2000. I think it must be like a piece of merchandise that came out at the time.
Oh, you're a bit out. It's from around like 1996 kind
Oh
of
right, okay. I actually
era.
thought I'd gone
So
too early there. Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, I do have a shirt with this badge on, but I don't think I've got it up today. But the badge you're thinking of from our childhood is this one here, where the prepared is in the shield.
Got you.
Not that you can see it on the screen anyway. But yeah, they're very rare, very hard to find, and I got it on eBay for like 30 quid, and which is almost £100 off what they normally go for on eBay. So I was very happy.
Very
It's
good.
very comfy.
Any memories from this season? Did you win the League Cup this? Oh, well,
We
not
were,
memories. 'Cause you weren't born, but like
yeah.
what happened this season? Like,
96 was the last time we won a major trophy, which of course was the League Cup. So
yeah.
just before our time. Not that I would have remembered it anyway, but
No, of course. So yeah, you probably don't have missed like Blues got to the League Cup final in 2001, and as a
yeah.
joke, I always moan about it because we were kind of robbed. But like obviously, I don't actually remember it
Yeah,
myself
we were in
at
the
all.
FA
So
Cup
like
final in 2000 and
yeah,
it's forever my
exactly.
head. Like,
Yeah. And unsurprisingly, you lost, which you do a lot in cup finals these days.
it's okay though. This year we're winning the FA Cup.
Moving on. For anyone who's still listening, let's move on. So what am I wearing, Carl?
Oh, look at that.
I'm gonna try
Uh,
and
uh,
stand up because it's a little bit might be easier for you to see.
yeah, I think it is probably a score draw remake, but it is a
Yeah, it is.
cracker. Um, it's got very faint checkerboarding, very silky, nice sort of like blue and white kind of V-neck. What's the
Yeah.
sponsor? Mark Electricals or something?
Mark one. Yeah,
Mark One.
yeah.
Okay. Um, Cryptic.
If anyone knows who Mark one are or what they were, leave it in the comments. Let us
My
know.
guess is it's not a betting company that doesn't really exist. So,
Yeah.
but the badge is really interesting. So the badge, like we've said a lot with these retro Birmingham City kits, your badges on the home kit vary so much through
Yeah.
like the 80s into 2000s really. So this is
Mm.
it's almost like a whiteout kind of badge. Like the white
Yeah,
and
well,
blue
it's
are
like
inverted, aren't they?
yeah, it's almost like it's reversed. Yeah, and in fact, yeah, it's bordering on like a silvery kind of color almost. Really nice, really nice.
Yeah, and you got some nice like tram lines, train tracks on the shoulders.
Yeah,
That is proper retro. I know it's a remake, but proper retro. I mean,
yeah.
it's giving me like 80s vibes. So
Mm.
trying to think back to maybe what some of our old kits maybe were like. We'll go for like a 1985.
Little couple few years out, but right decade. I actually thought you're closer than me. I actually thought this would be later, but this is 1989, 1990 home. Really cool one to get on. Thank you to James for loaning me it. Really cool one to get on because I haven't really spoken about this era at all, really, on what we're wearing. So it's quite nice to mix it up a bit. So I did a bit of research, a bit of a trip back in time. So yeah, 1989-90 home. We were managed this year by former Scotland manager Dave Mackay. I don't really know much about Dave Mackay other than he played for Scotland, and he was mentioned it. I don't know if you've ever seen The Damned United, the film about Brian Clough with Michael Sheen. He's like I think he's a character in that, or he's at least
Yeah.
mentioned
I saw
because that's
I
about
think the
like
BBC like a version of the Munich disaster, which had David Tennant in like in the mid 2010s. But I don't think I've seen Damned United.
oh right, sorry. Oh yeah, yeah, no, that's like Damned United's more about Damned United's not about the it's not about the Man United thing, it's about Brian Clough at Leeds.
Oh,
You're
sorry.
thinking of one called oh what's that? I think it's called United.
You called
That's the
United, yeah, yeah,
confusion.
yeah.
Sorry, yeah, yeah, that's called United. Damned United is the film about Brian Clough. And I think it's when he's at Derby, Dave Mackay is like a character, or I don't know if you actually see him, but he's at least mentioned and stuff. So that's all I could think of. So he must have played for Derby as well. Um, so yeah, he was the manager, and you know when I say like we don't really talk, we haven't really talked about this era all that much. Maybe it's because we were really not very good at all. We were also in what is now League One back then, so we've only spent like a handful of years in our whole history in what is now League One, but this was one of them, and we actually finished seventh as well, so we didn't even get promoted or anything, and didn't even get playoffs. We wouldn't actually be promoted until 1992 as well. Top scorer was Dennis Bailey, who got 18 goals, and this was actually the first season under the ownership of the Kumar brothers, who were two Indian brothers who bought a club and ended up selling it only like 5 years later to like Gold Sullivan, Brady, and so on. A few players that played for us back in the. Oh, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, so a terrible era. You finished seventh in the league. Why is it a retro top? Can I
Because it's
take
a
a
wicked.
guess? Yeah, but
Uh, go on.
is
I
it
don't
got
know.
something
No,
to
go
do
on.
with the old Johnston's paint
No,
virtue
no.
trophy? No, it's just because it was a cool kit.
It is coincidence, but good
Yeah.
segue. We'll get onto that later, but good segue. No, I think it's just a nice kit. Yeah, and I think also like if you're bad, you kind of forget about it as time goes on. Like if you like the kit, it kind of like the memory of the kit lives on almost longer than some of my favorite kits are kits from seasons we got relegated and stuff. If you know what I mean. But no, a few players that played for us this year: Paul Tate, Robert Hopkins was still at the club, Simon Sturridge, and Ian Clarkson, who I think does a bit of work for BBC WM now. And the highest home attendance was only 14,000, and this was before the stadium was like, the old main stand was still as is still now what it was then, but the other corners of the ground, it was very much the old St Andrews, if you know what I mean. So this was kind of, I think this was like a bad point in Blues' history before it got good again. The 90s were not on their own a great decade at all. Certainly not the late 80s, early 90s at all. That like yo-yo in between the second and third division. And I also thought let's just do a bit of research into what was going on in the world in 1989. Obviously, we weren't born, so I thought, we don't have any memories from it. So, what was going on in the world? Margaret Thatcher was still the UK Prime Minister. She left about a year later. In contrast, George Bush Sr. was just in his first and only term as US President. He just was about 6 months in the Oval Office there. The Berlin Wall came down in the November. Tim Burton's Batman was number one at the box office. It just dislodged Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And also, my parents met in 1989 as well. So that's quite a
No.
nice little memory as well. So yes, in summary, just quite a long time ago that that's some of the things that happened there. So
You just called your parents old on the podcast.
I
That's
know
probably
that was
not
a
a good thing
joke.
to have.
It was a joke. I know. I'm only joking. That was the joke. No, they're not messing. Um, so yeah, 1989, 90 home, lovely kit, like you say. Yeah.
Into the games. You played a game midweek last week, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, we did. We played Cambridge at home. You didn't play midweek either, did you? Was it just us?
Just you.
Yeah, cool. No, we played Cambridge at home. It was top versus bottom. I won't spend too long on it because there's not much to say other than we absolutely skanked them. We were just just it was a complete one-way traffic. I had one, I think it was might have been the Keeper on podcast. They described it as we played Newcastle just 3 or 4 days earlier. We were closer in, we were closer to Newcastle than Cambridge were to us. Is the perfect way of describing it. They were just it was just one-way traffic. We're 3-0 up at half time. Um, with lovely, lovely goal for the third goal. Kieran Dowell with the third one. It was a lovely team counter attack, just kind of one-touch football, beautiful goal. Luke Harris got a fourth. And it's weird though, because we still did. I mentioned it like all the time when we went at home. We like really showboated in the second half. Still, like we missed another penalty. It honestly, it should have been 7-8-0. It was ridiculous, and I was almost a little bit frustrated. I was like, I don't know why. Yeah, we won 4-0. It's actually the biggest win I've ever been to. I think I cannot think of another 4-0 I've ever been to.
Blimey.
Maybe I have. I just can't. I can't think of one. Um, but like, yeah, it genuinely should have been more. It was almost. I can't remember if I've used this comparison on the podcast before. I remember I've said it in person to people though. We honestly, all these home games, it's like, at the end of The Incredibles when they agree to let. So, for anyone who's not seen The Incredibles, the one kid, his superpower is he's got super speed, and for the whole film he wants to compete in sports and stuff, and
Hmm.
his parents won't let him because he'll just win, obviously, all the time. But at the end, they agree to let him, and one of the last scenes is him like racing over the finish line at the end, and he's just like basically like jogging, and he's like first, and his
Yeah.
parents are like, no, 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 like slow down a bit, like finish second or something, because they want him to do well, but they don't want him to win and make it obvious. That's honestly what we are like every game. It's like Chris Davies is shouting at the team, like, no, 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 like only score four, that's enough.
Take pity on them.
Yeah, pretty
Mercy.
much. Yes, it's like the Simpsons meme of like, stop, he's already dead. Like,
Yeah.
that's what we do a lot this year. I think they're just a bad team, to be fair, and they're all but relegated pretty much. Nice to see Michael Morrison come back though, obviously former Blues captain. And it's nice for him to get a standing ovation. I think after the Newcastle game, which was only a few days earlier, this was a bit more of just a normal, there weren't many limbs, let's be honest. It was all a bit of a procession. But I'll take it. 4-0 against Cambridge. I'll absolutely take it. And we'll get on to our next game in a moment. But you played, obviously, you didn't play midweek, but you did play at the weekend. We weirdly both played at 3 o'clock on Saturday, which was very
Did
strange at
we?
home.
I don't remember.
We did, yeah, at home. Yeah. Oh, here
I
we
did. I
go. Here
do.
we go.
Yeah. I must have.
Oh, this whole bit
Must have
again. Here
slipped
we
my
go.
mind. Yeah.
No, here we go. You
Uh,
played Ipswich and you got a bit lucky, it sounded like. I don't know.
no, no,
Oh, okay, fair enough.
not lucky, but I think like how I've said many times on the podcast this year is we let too many goals in, and it's eventually going to bite us in the arse. And today was one of those days where yet again, well, not today, but Saturday was one of those days where yet again it did bite us in the arse. Um, because Ipswich, I think, only had one shot pretty much in the whole game, and it was when they had 10 men at the start of the second half.
Yeah.
Lovely goal, apart from the fact that Ian Matson cannot defend and really should do a lot better. Um, but again, it's something I've spoken about on this podcast is, and I hope that it turns around for Ian Matson because we know he's a good player, but his defensive side of the game is so poor, and it really needs to improve if he's ever going to be a top left back, at Premier League level and beyond. Um, so just a really frustrating one because a lot of results went our way this weekend, and we could have gained some ground in that sort of race. I don't really race for the Champions League, but at least race for the Europa League sort of spots. Um, and yeah, real missed opportunity, which was frustrating. Um, but I think you just got to put your hands up and say Alex Palmer was unbelievable. So the former Baggie, first time playing against Villa, I think, and was by far and away man of the match, and not the first goalkeeper to come to Villa Park this year and take man of the match. But some of the stops he pulled out, especially the one in stoppage time at the end of the match, where he sort of scooped the ball away from, I think it was a Rogers shot, was just brilliant. And it's one of those, it's really frustrating, and I'm a little bit annoyed and a bit deflated. But if we'd have got a last minute winner, I'd have been on here today going, what a win. They showed such great character. Yeah, we let a goal in, but we got the win, and that's all that matters. So perspective, I suppose. But it's just a missed opportunity. But we have time to right it because we've got Liverpool on Wednesday, which we'll talk about at the end towards the end of the podcast. But yeah, we do struggle to break teams down who are A, play a five at the back, and B, sit in a low block. And they sucked up a lot of pressure. Tuanzebe got sent off, so he did his bit. The former Villa player tried to do his bit for the team, but wasn't to be. But yeah, it's been a habit for a while. The Liverpool game, even if we don't win the Liverpool game, that sort of match will suit us better because Liverpool will come
Sure.
and they will try a bit like what we said with Blues against Newcastle. Newcastle came to Blues and tried to play football and it suited you, even though you didn't win the
Yeah.
game. And so we'll
Yeah,
probably
sure.
find the Liverpool game will be a bit similar. We'll be the underdogs. We'll maybe have to soak up a little bit and we can hit try and hit them on the counter attack like we know is the strength of our team. And Ipswich, obviously, we can't do that, especially when they're down to 10 men. So, um, Asensio maybe could have had a hat trick. That goal is coming for him. I can feel it. And
Yeah. For all these
uh,
superstars you signed, you can't beat the tractor boys. All this gushing over Asensio and
yeah.
who's the other one? Rashford you've got in. Did Rashford play at all? Or?
He came off the bench at half time and he did play well. Technically gets the assist for the Watkins goal because his free kick hits the bar and he
Yeah, sure.
just taps it in. But oh my God, if that had gone in, that'd have been an unbelievable goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. It's one of those. Our season is starting to become more and more about the cups more than the league
Yeah,
at this
sure.
point because we are just losing ground at the moment.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of games at the moment. So Villa actually had a request to the Premier League refused about 3 or 4 days ago to move the Liverpool fixture that's on Wednesday because we are now facing, including the Ipswich game that has just gone, we were facing 5 games in 14 days.
Blimey. What is
Um,
that? Like, I was supposed does the Champions League start again soon? Or...
so so we've got 3 games this week, which is Wednesday, Saturday, because the Liverpool game has been moved a month earlier because of the Carabao Cup final, not later. Weird one.
Okay.
We've then got Crystal Palace on the Tuesday after Chelsea, and then we've got Cardiff on Friday night.
Blimey. Oh, the Cardiff game's on the Friday as well. Strange.
Yeah.
I
So
suppose we're on the Saturday, so that might be why. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Strange. I was saying to someone the other day though, Ipswich. I think I know they're probably you'd probably say they're going to go down, probably possibly. Like they might not, but it's there's a good chance. But weirdly, I think if they stayed up this year, I think next year they'd be
They'd really kick on, wouldn't
really
they?
good. Yeah, I think they'd.
Yeah.
Not they wouldn't do what Leicester did, but you know how they improved so much
Yeah.
from just staying up to kicking on.
Maybe
Oh
like a
yeah,
Brentford maybe. They
yeah,
because they've
sure.
got a lot of young players that are only going to get better the more games they play and the more seasons they play.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but yeah, I mean they've had some bad defeats along the way. I mean they lost to Southampton at home a week ago. But
Yeah,
they've taken two. We've only taken two, drawn both games, 2 points off us
yeah.
this year out of 2 games. So, oh
Yeah,
well.
they're the kind of points dropping that are going to possibly cost you achieving Europa League or whatever it is that
Yeah.
you end up just missing out on probably. Cool. Shall we move on to so at the same time Blues are playing Charlton at St Andrews. Do you want to chat
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah. Let's go for
Cool.
it.
Cool. So Charlton are one of only 2 teams in the league to actually beat us this year. They beat us at the Valley back in October, and they're managed by Nathan Jones now. Obviously, he was at Luton for a long time. He was at Luton and then went to I think he went to Stoke and
South.
Southampton, did he?
He was at Southampton in a disaster.
Yeah, and then he ended up did he go? No, he was at Luton. Then did he go to Stoke? Then went back to Luton, and then went to
Yeah.
Southampton. I'm pretty sure that's what
Yeah.
happened. And
Yes.
it was
Yeah. It
always
was.
like he always did well at Luton, and then struggled at the other two to an extent, especially at Southampton. And then he really dropped back down to Charlton, going down to League One. He's a bit of a weird one because I know he's not everyone's cup of tea. A lot of people really don't like him, and he probably enjoys that. To be honest, he seems like the kind of type.
Mhm.
But I completely get it. But taking that out of it. I completely get what he was trying to do on Saturday, and in complete contrast to Cambridge, they actually really gave us a game. It was a really physical, nasty, horrible, bitty game. They were, again, kind of like Blackpool. They're one of the few teams to really stop us playing our game for long periods. And so I kind of can't knock that. I actually praised us for doing it against Newcastle. Not, we did play our game against Newcastle, but we were also physical and nasty and tried to stop them doing that. So I can't really then criticise Charlton for doing it against us. Um, uh, Having said all that, Charlton didn't really have much. They didn't really have too much in the way of great chances. Kept the clean sheet, and that's despite actually naming an unchanged team from the midweek game, um, which in and of itself had only seen a few changes from the Newcastle game a few days earlier. So it's all, yeah, we were pretty well did pretty well defensively, obviously. But then the game was decided in like the 23rd minute, I think it was, with a wonderful goal from Stansfield, which proved to be the winner. And so Ethan Laird sort of headed it on. The ball's right on the touchline, sort of where the like by the dugouts, basically by the technical areas. And one of the Charlton players has clearly got the ball, and Stansfield manages to just stop the ball going out of play, nip around him, take the ball away from him, and he sort of drives into the space in the middle of the pitch and just outside the box, lashes one in. I don't know why the defenders were sitting off him so much the whole way. I know it's maybe easier said than done, like coming from me, like they're probably like, who am I to say that? But I would have thought in that scenario they're just backing off, and he's clearly going to get a shot off. Really good finish. It's not in terms of significance, it wasn't this good, but it really reminded me of Seb Larsson scored a goal against Sheffield Wednesday in 2007, which didn't promote us, but it was like we were basically up with it, if you know what I mean. Where it's just one where he took the ball on right on pretty much on the halfway line out wide and drove all the way in and managed to score. So a really great goal. Again, a goal worthy of winning the game, to be honest. Second half was, as I say, was very scrappy, very bitty. I will say the only other thing of real, like I'll really remember from it was one of the worst refereeing decisions I've ever seen. I don't know if you saw it on like the
I haven't,
socials or
no.
anything. Um, it was down the opposite, so we sit in the Tilton, and this was in front of the Gilmerick, so it's the exact opposite end to us. And the keeper at one point comes out to try and claim the ball out wide.
Oh, I have seen it. I have seen
Yes,
it. Yeah,
and I
yeah,
mean
yeah,
he's blatantly just picks it up outside, or touches it with both hands outside the box,
yeah.
and the ref didn't
Put
give it.
like pushes it into the box and
Yeah,
stands
he
up.
kind of
Yeah.
he's very clever how he knows the linesman's like on that side, so he's trying to like almost shield it with his body, shield the view.
Yeah.
So I guess the official's logic is, well, we can't know for sure, so just don't give it. Because if they give a red card or whatever, it's quite consequential. So they kind of bottled it, is what I'm saying. I would have thought beyond reasonable doubt, you would know it's not. It's clearly outside the box. Very bizarre. We're right down the other end, and I was kind of well, I would say I was speechless, but I wasn't because these kind of decisions are very common in the EFL. These absolutely baffling. I try not to slag off referees too much, and I don't think I do. But that was a truly bizarre one. But yeah, the good news is we won. We're now on 69 points. We are, I did a bit of the old maths earlier. We're on course to get 109 points at the minute, which is a pretty comfy EFL record. So yeah, it's pretty remarkable. 15 games unbeaten in the league. We've got a huge game on Tuesday night as well in the cup, which we'll talk about later. And I mentioned earlier like how the team was unchanged from the Cambridge game, and then we're not really been making many changes, which is very impressive. Actually, the players didn't look that knackered. They looked really up for it, and I don't know if that's much to do with we have heard about some of Tom Brady's people being at the Epic Training Centre and so on, and really working on like recovery and fitness and so on. I know other fans kind of make a few comments about like, oh, Tom Brady's just like a face for it all, and like, yeah, I know Tom Brady's not there much himself, but you do hear about like his people are at the training ground, and it's all about fitness and recovery and how they can avoid these like long-term injuries or um injuries occurring from like cumulative games and so on. So if that's true, that is very impressive. And I have noticed it this year. We had a lot of injuries last year. I knew we've had some this year, but it's impressive on the whole, I must say, and making a big difference for the consistency of the team. So yeah, that was Blues this week.
Shall we have a little look at some of the other teams across the West Midlands, Stan?
Yes, of course. Made a few notes on some of them, so we'll quickly go through them, and then we'll just go into a little bit of housekeeping as well. So I don't know if you've been keeping track of Walsall at all this year, Callum. We haven't talked about them for a little while, but they got a big win at the weekend against Chesterfield. They won 3-1. First win in 6 games for them, so they've had a bit of a sticky patch. But despite that, got another win on the board now, and they are still comfortably top of League Two. I think they're 10 points clear of fourth, and obviously the top three go straight up in League Two. There's a couple of other teams got a game or two, a game in hand there, but even so, they're 10 points clear, and I think they're 8 points clear of second as well. Again, with a game, they've got a game in hand, the team in second. But yeah, very comfortable for them at the minute. Matt Sadler, sorry, doing a very good job there this year at Walsall, so that's not too bad at all. Um, Other teams, Coventry, I don't know if you've seen them as well. They
Yeah,
are
they're
really
right
sneaking
in
up
the
the
mix now, aren't
championship.
they?
Yeah, only a point off playoffs now. They got a big win away at Sheffield Wednesday, who also are having a really good season. I did not realise how much they've improved Sheffield Wednesday. But yeah, Ellis Sims got 2 goals, including a 92nd minute winner away at Sheffield Wednesday. So they are now only a point outside of the playoffs. I don't know how much of it is Frank Lampard or how much of it is like Coventry just do this every year. I don't.
Because we did say this earlier on in
Yes,
the year.
Yeah, and I don't think we were like really breaking any ground with it either.
No,
Everyone they start slow every year, and then they always pick up and do well because they are a good team. So yeah, they're only a point outside the playoffs now, so it'd be very interesting to see how they get on. And not only are they a point outside the playoffs, they're a point behind the Baggies, who drew at Millwall at the weekend, and
another
uh,
draw.
another draw for the Baggies. I wonder if next year will be their year. If you look at the Championship now, there's a clear. It's like the top four. It's like Leeds, Sheffield United, Burnley, and Sunderland. They're like then there's a clear gap between fourth and fifth. And Baggies are like sixth at the minute, so they're definitely not going to get automatics. They're kind of clinging on for playoffs. I know Mowbray said he was a little disappointed with the draw, but I think he's been a bit harsh there. Millwall's a really hard place to go. They were 1-0 down, and it was actually an own goal that got them back into it. So I understand they've got better players, which I think is what he was saying, why they were disappointed. So I get that. But Millwall's always a hard place to go. I think that's a point gained, uh, regardless of context and so on. And then finally in the West Midlands, Wolves lost 2-1 away at Liverpool, but put up a good showing, and they're actually still 2 points clear of the relegation zone now. Obviously, would have been three, but Ipswich picked up a point at Villa. Yeah, I don't know if you saw any of that game, Cal, Wolves Liverpool, but lost 2-1. But considering they're 2-0 down at half time, a lot of other teams will come out and really fold second half. Instead, they pulled a goal back with Cunha with about 20 odd minutes to go, and actually looked like they could nick an equaliser for quite a lot of
Yeah,
it, I must say. So yeah, I didn't think they were too bad at all, really, against a very good Liverpool team.
yeah, and still in relegation trouble, but probably stay out.
Yeah, I would have thought so. There's a clear gap between like it's clearly like two from three out of Wolves, Ipswich, and Leicester now.
Yeah, I think
But
Leicester
yeah,
are going, aren't they? Really?
you'd think so. You'd think so. So yeah, I've got nothing against Wolves. I just think I would like the derby back next year if they came down to the Championship. That'd be cool. But yeah, that's a bit of a roundup of the West Midlands. Otherwise, cool. What about housekeeping this week, Cal? Have you got much to report on your end?
Kind of already done it, which is the Cardiff in the FA Cup is now on Friday night
Oh, okay.
next week. So we'll talk about it properly next week. But it is the homecoming custody of Anwar El Ghazi, Callum Chambers, and Callum Robinson match. But it will
Callum
also
Robinson.
Callum Robinson.
When was he at Villa?
He came through our academy with
Oh
Jack
wow.
Grealish
Oh, I did not know
um,
that.
before he went on to the heights of Sheffield
Sheffield
United,
United,
West Brom, Preston,
Republic of Ireland.
Republic of Ireland. Yeah.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, we've got three of those games, and also of course there'll be I think there's a banner going to go up for Peter Whittingham as well, because that's
absolutely.
the big connection between the two clubs as well. But we'll talk more about that next week. But that game's now on Friday night. Tickets going on sale this Friday, I want to say. They might
Cool. I
already be on
assume you'll be
sale for
there.
season ticket holders, but yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, TV pick, I assume as well.
I would imagine so. Yeah, I think they might all the games because it's the round of 16. Effectively, pretty much all the games are
Oh, of
going to be on
course,
telly.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, of course.
but
Cool. Cool. On the Blues end, only real story otherwise this week was Craig Gardner's got himself a little promotion. He's gone from technical director to director of football, which I feel like it's probably a bit of semantics more than anything. Because I think everyone kind of considered him the director of football anyway. But I think it sounds more like he'll be more encompassing not just the men's first team as singularly, but the women's team, the academy, and so on. And I think when he was announced as Blues technical director, it was quite a few years ago. I think everyone kind of took the piss a little bit, thought it was a bit silly, like Craig Gardner. But he's, a lot of the recruitment has been really good at Blues over the last year. He's been very involved in that, and you hear a lot about how the actual takeover he was actually very involved with as well. So I think he probably deserves a lot of credit and probably deserves whatever pay rise he's probably just landed himself. So yeah, fair enough, Craig. I'm not
do you
going to
reckon he
judge too
promoted
much.
himself?
Well, it sounds like it, and he didn't, it does sound like it. Who knows? No, he's probably earned it. I'm not trying to be facetious there. Um, so yeah, Craig Gardner, new director of football at Blues, and again, a director of football is not a bad idea at all. Obviously, in terms of like managers come and go, but a director of football, if you've got a clear philosophy across all the teams that come under the club's banner, can't be a bad thing at all. Um,
Are you big into the Super Bowl, Dan? I know it's the wrong
uh,
football.
Not really. I didn't really. No, I used to like. We watched it at uni one year and I enjoyed it. But no, I haven't really watched it the last couple of years.
because obviously the halftime show is a big thing, and you'll know this, with your American owners. I'm sure there'll be a
Yeah,
halftime show at St Andrews before we know it, and they'll wheel out
yeah.
uh, UB40 or
Streets.
JK again or someone.
Yeah.
But obviously Kendrick Lamar did the big show this time, who is now headlining Villa Park in the
I
summer.
saw on my birthday as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be down at old VP.
No, it's my birthday, so I might be in town, I just won't be it might mean everywhere else is quiet, to be fair. Um no, I will not be there. Kendrick Lamar is not really my cup of tea either,
No, it's not really
shockingly.
mine either. But yeah, a
No.
lot of concerts come into Villa Park in the last couple of
Mm.
years, and more this year. Because obviously, there's the big Black Sabbath
I mean,
reunion,
that's the
mega
big
gig.
one. Yeah, that's the big one.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but the Kendrick Lamar one, obviously, that announcement came literally the day after the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
yeah.
So when he's already in the news, all of a sudden the big tour at Villa Park is back in the news. So a nice bit of
Yeah.
marketing by
Yeah, and I suppose you've got to get the gigs in now before the new Blue Stadium's built, because we all know it's all going there from 2030 or whatever onwards. So yeah, you kind of got to get
well,
on it now, I suppose.
let's see if you build it first.
Oh, how dare you? You didn't get any Black Sabbath tickets then, did you? Was that not on your?
I didn't try, in fairness. I would have had a pre-sale window, I think, as a member,
Hmm.
but would have been cool, but not really my cup of tea. So as someone who maybe struggles to get to concerts I want to go to, I would have felt bad maybe taking a ticket away from someone who
Yeah,
really wants to go,
yeah, that was
just
my
for the
logic
sake
with
of going.
Oasis. Yeah, like I tried with Oasis, and then I was like, I'm not actually that fussed. There's people who really want to go that can't. Like our mate Will was like desperate to go. I'm not actually that fussed, but anyway, yeah.
We're going to see
Um,
No Oasis or something instead, so it's
we
going to
are. We're
be
going
yeah,
to. It's no. It's the same band. 4 nights. It's No
yeah,
Oasis, Scam Fender, Copycat Killers, and Subarctic Monkeys. Bring it on. It's gonna be great.
it's going to be a wonderful night.
Speaking of music, though, I have a news segment for you, Cal. I've not pre-warned you about
Oh,
this.
okay.
So
This
this,
could go well.
yeah, this is Chant Corner. Is this new section? It's a new section of the podcast. Um, that we're gonna see how it goes. So I can't remember if I've said this to you in person. I've been quite critical of a lot of the songs at Blues over the last few years. I think they're just really unimaginative. Just kind of not like just like sweary songs are great when they're like funny or smart in some way, but they're just like really brain dead songs. A lot of them really like overplayed. No originality to them at all. But I'm glad to report that from our two home wins last week, I heard a series of new chants, which I just thought were funny or imaginative in some way. So I run a few of these by you. Obviously, earlier in the season, we've already had the Jay Stansfield Shakira one. I don't know if you've heard that. It's
I
like,
would not have heard that because he signed after the Wickham game.
oh, true. Oh, sure. But like, it's like
So,
the Shakira one. It's like 20 million. My voice going blimey.
oh, it's yeah,
20
yeah, it's the
million
Waka
down the
Waka one.
drain.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a great song. But anyway, so against I've written some down here. Against Cambridge, I heard some good ones. I think it's like one guy who sits like a few rows behind me was coming out with these. To be fair, it wasn't like the whole ground were doing it. Against Cambridge. So I apologise as well. It's normally a family podcast, but might be a bit sweary here. It's be a bit of a 15 rated episode, I think, of the Second City podcast. Um, it's a long way back to Cambridge when you shit. It's a long way back to Cambridge when you shit. I thought that was good.
See, I love chants where you just sort of like taking the mick, like
Yeah. I think
that's
maybe it's because we
funny.
haven't played some of these teams in so long as well. But I thought that was funny. And then you can stick your Cambridge dictionary up your arse. You can stick your Cambridge dictionary. I thought that was good. But undoubtedly the banger of the week, and this was like a wide section of the stand was singing this, is the Willem Willemsen song, which I actually shared in our WhatsApp group this week
Yeah,
with
I
you all.
believe it's a rip
Um,
of our old Coutinho now Asensio chant.
is it?
I bel
Well, you didn't say
yeah.
that at the
Well,
time. In fact, no one replied at all. So I thought, well,
yeah.
I'm going to say it on the pod and you'll have to reply then. Well, I apologise if it is a rip, but here it goes, and apologise again if there's for the swearing. So he comes from Iceland, plays for the blue and white. He hates the Villa, thinks they are fucking shite. He's fucking massive. He's scoring goals for fun. His name is Willem. Willem Willemsen. What a great
It's a good
chant.
it's a good chant. That was our Coutinho chant and is now
Was
our
it?
Marco Asensio chant.
Oh, well, I'm
Yeah,
annoyed to hear that because it's a really
yeah.
good chant. So well done though for to Blues fans. It's good to get some new chants going. Very
Yeah.
pleased. So that was
Come down to Villa
Chant
Park. You
Corner.
can nick a few more of our chants as well.
Well, we're not nicking is your crap LA song. We still sing that.
We do, but I'm standing by it. It's not as bad as the West Brom version.
No, it's not. They're all bad. I don't like any of them to be the LA songs. But yes, unless you have any of your own as well, Cal, that is Chant Corner for this week.
I think we'll leave it there for this week, but obviously I'll
And
report
probably
back.
probably forever as well, to be fair. It's
Yeah.
probably a one and only run for Chant Corner.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we'd had a bit of a bad run for chants, and I don't know if you find it where some chants will happen at away games, but
Yeah,
transferring that into the home atmosphere is really difficult.
yeah.
So we've had a few that are slowly integrating, but obviously we had the John Duran chant, um, which was great, and we lost it when he left, and so we've repurposed that one for Marcus Rashford, literally word for word, apart from the name. And then we
Okay.
lost the Coutinho chant a couple of years ago, which was a banger as well, which has now been repurposed for Marco Asensio. So
Very good, very good. Cool. Shall we move on then to the next couple of games? Big week coming up for both of us.
yes, so I've already touched on Liverpool a little bit, so I'll talk a little bit about it that I haven't done already. Not saying we're going to win, but I think the game will suit us a lot better. Um, weirdly, we had another injury against Ipswich. We lost Boubacar Kamara after about 15 minutes, and I think it's something ridiculous. Out of 8 of our last 11 games, we've had a player go off injured in the first half.
Wow.
Um, so we obviously started that game with one centre back on the pitch, but we ended the game or played the majority of the game with two centre backs on the pitch. So that was pretty wild. It's been a while since we
Mm.
did that. Um, they will obviously. So we've got Liverpool in midweek. So Mings and Disassi will play. So we are probably going to start the game with two centre backs. Unbelievable. Um, yeah, we'll see what happens. I do not expect Ian Matson to start because, I mean, him up against Mohamed Salah would be something. Um, I expect Marcus Rashford and probably Asensio to start. Rashford will definitely start. You can put your money on it now. I'm telling you, Rashford's going to start. Asensio, I don't know. I have a feeling that he might not, but he probably will.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, we'll just kind of see what happens. I don't want to say it's a free hit, but it kind of is. But
It kind of is, yeah, 100%.
Liverpool have been a little bit. They haven't. It's maybe gone a bit under the radar, but they have had a little rocky spell. And
Yeah, they don't really blow teams away, do they? They're pretty like I don't know. They
no,
do maybe in terms of
no.
performance, but they
Now you've
don't
said
like.
that they're going to beat us 5-0.
Let's hope so. Then I'll say it again if I have to. No, but you know what I mean. They do blow teams away in terms of performance, but they don't score 5-6 usually. Um, so yeah. So when are you playing them? Sorry.
Wednesday. And then
Cool.
we've got Chelsea on Saturday. I might as well
Yeah.
run through it while we're on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Go for it.
Disassi can't play because it's his parent club, so maybe we're back to one centre back.
Yeah.
Um, Chelsea. So I said Liverpool maybe in a rocky spell. Chelsea definitely are. Chelsea are
Yeah.
there for the taking, and if we get rolled over by Chelsea, that will be one that is a bit annoying. Um, but 3 home games in a week. 4 out of the 5 are going to be at home of our next games. We've mucked up the first one. Let's go and sort it out with the next two. Because let's just. I'm not saying we're going to win both games, but if we take 4 points from the next 2 games,
Oh,
we'll have
massive.
forgotten
Yeah.
about the Ipswich game. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, Chelsea there for the taking. Hopefully, we've got a defence to field. But the games are coming thick and fast for us. So,
Yeah.
4 points. I'd have your hand off right now.
Yeah. I'd even say if you lose to Liverpool but beat Chelsea, that's pretty
Knowing
good.
Villa will beat Liverpool and lose to Chelsea, that'd be the sort of
Yeah.
thing we'd do.
Probably. Cool. Blues also got a double game week. Should probably clarify. So we're recording this on Monday night. So to be fair, a number of people might be listening to this after the first of these two games because that's on Tuesday night. Recording it before though. So and that game's against Bradford in the EFL Trophy, the Virtue Trophy semi-final. So it's actually is a really big game. Like I know I say every week, people think it's Mickey Mouse and all that. You called it the Mushroom Cup off camera before we came on. But you want to win it. If we don't win it, we'll be gutted.
Only
Like,
because you called the Conference League that last year. That's not
that's
me actually thinking the EFL
yeah.
Trophy is
So
a
you
waste of
actually, if
time.
anything, you nicked my joke. If
I did nick
anything,
your joke, yes.
and I didn't even realize. So yeah. So we got Bradford at home to sell out, which is great. I'm really excited. I think it will be Will it be on the Newcastle game level? I don't know, but it's gonna be a sellout. I think it'll be close. I think it's gonna be a big
The
party
fireworks will be
atmosphere.
going off and the fireboxes.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So obviously, kind of strange one because the EFL Trophy, it's quite low attendances for a lot of it. Obviously, we had a lot of away games. This will be our first home game since the group stage, in it? Um, yeah, it's felt a little like you're talking like 3,000 in attendance for most of the games, and then you get to the semi-final, it's like 30,000. But you're planning to get to Wembley, and I know Chris Davies won't take it lightly. I won't be taking it lightly as a fan. He's actually taken the competition very seriously on the whole and has played a lot of strong teams. I think Alfie May started every single game pretty much. Um, so I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a big game. Never been to a game against Bradford, so that's another team to tick off the list. They're actually doing
I
all right in
have.
League Two. You have, yes. So of course, Bradford in semi-finals in Birmingham. They actually have a surprisingly good track record because they did
Yeah.
beat Villa in the League Cup semi-final in 2013, which wasn't too bad at all. They were in League Two then, as they are now, but they're going along all right. They're currently fourth in the league. They've only lost two of their last 15 league games. Already knocked out Villa's under 21s. Thank God. I would have not been looking forward to the game if it was them tomorrow. And of course, Wrexham or Peterborough await in the final for the winner, which is like that's gonna be great. Like Wembley in April, bring it on. Let's get there. Let's get the job done. Really, that'll be something. It's nearly 2 months away. It's the turnaround of like the quarterfinal to the draw to the game actually happening has been really quick. It's been like just over a week. But then that'll be something. If we get through, that's like 6 weeks, almost 2 months away to look forward to. Would really look forward to that.
Wrexham and Peterborough as well. Interesting
Mm.
potential finalists there. Obviously, you got
Yeah,
the holders
yeah,
and
yeah.
Hollywood.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we saw obviously Peterborough when we went last year to the Wycombe Peterborough final. They pretty much sold out. Like did they sell out, but it was a big
The
attendance
entire
anyway.
lower tier was sold out, and they had a section of the upper tier as well, which
All
Wycombe
right,
didn't have.
that's true. But yeah, so they came in their numbers, and Wrexham would be massive. I think that would be. I reckon they'd wheel out Brady and all them for Wembley
Yeah.
and Ryan Reynolds and all them. So that'd be really exciting. So yeah, yeah, big game. Everyone going, enjoy the game. 8 o'clock kickoff. So yeah, really looking forward to that. The chance to get to Wembley, can't wait. And let's try and channel some of that spirit from the West Ham game when we got there last time in 2011.
Take your
Um,
clappers.
don't take your clappers. We don't need clappers. And then on Saturday we got Reading away, and I've actually got a ticket for it. So I'm looking forward to that.
Hey,
Yeah, I haven't been to an
have you been
away
to
game
Reading
in a while.
before?
I have. I went. We got promoted there in 2009. So it's been a long time though. So it's been yeah about 15 years since I've gone. So yeah, and in fact, you say that. So I did a bit of a looking back. I looked back through like all the games, like when we last played teams and so on. And so, like for example, for Bradford, I looked at when we last played them. We haven't played them since 2002. So that was in what is now League One. Oh no, sorry, no, what is now the Championship. But I did it for Reading as well, and I was looking for. I was like, man, I've been to like loads. I've been to like loads of these. I remember loads of these, and I think I've been. This will be like my 10th or 11th game against Reading. That must be a record. I've been to loads of games against Reading. Obviously, we drew them on the opening day this season, 1-1. They're doing okay. They're currently ninth and haven't lost in four. They were doing really well, but Ruben Sellers got poached by Hull. So they're now managed by Noel Hunt, who actually scored against us once. I remember he scored a great free kick against us the year we got promoted again at their expense, actually. So yeah, they've got pretty tight defensively recently. They've only conceded 2 goals in the last 4 games, which was a big change because then the 3 games before that they actually conceded 8 goals. So looks like they're a little bit gung ho and they're just trying to course correct that a little bit. Um, so yeah, I think we'll beat them genuinely. I think we're on fire at the minute. I am very much. I'm gonna like try and not jinx this, but like I really can't see us losing a game anywhere at the minute. What just like that'll be the thing that gets clipped off and goes around, obviously, when we lose on Saturday. But no, I'd fancy us against anyone at the minute, genuinely. So that's yeah, Bradford and Reading, big week.
I think that just about wraps us up for tonight, doesn't it?
It does,
Or
yeah. I
today.
apologize. I keep having to like stifle. I drank a can of Coke before we came on a little bit. Keep needed to burp. Sorry, as gross as that is. Um, cool, but yeah, that's us for this week. Thank you so much for listening. Please go check out our Lee Clark interview. It's obviously it'll be there forever for you to check out. It's a great interview which we did about a month ago. So yeah,
Yep. So remember, like, share, subscribe on whatever you're watching or listening to us on. We're on a nice little upward
yeah,
trajectory at the moment. And yeah, I'll see you next week, Dan. Lots of football happening. Let's hopefully good results all around for the claret and blue side of the city, and defeats all around for you. So see you next week, and up the Villa.
No comment needed. Shit on the Villa, and see you next time.